But moving from there on, let's now shift focus on the theme of today, raining good news as well. Now, on Build Your Portfolio, we bring you strategies and companies that stand to benefit from good rains. Today, we bring you a conversation with Balram Singh Yadav, MD at Godrej Agrovet, who expects 15% growth on good monsoons. In fact, Neha Tyagi spoke to him. Let's quickly hear out that entire conversation.
So I think you're calling it out early.
Okay.
The prediction is that the monsoon will be normal.
Okay.
And we hope that monsoon is normal and temporal and spatial distribution, which is most important for agriculture,
Absolutely.
is also normal.
Okay.
Because then only when it happens at the right place at the right time, then only the results come. Yes, of course, monsoon is very important for this country. Agriculture, everybody talks about, that is a no-brainer. But for drinking water, for navigation, because a lot of rivers are used as navigation for rural folks, plus for construction, etc. So monsoon is the kind of life-giving dose to this country. And we believe that with good monsoon, the inflation will be under check.
Okay.
But now today the problem of the country is totally different. We have a problem of plenty.
Okay.
And a good monsoon means that we will have another bumper Kharif and another bumper Rabi. That's a big problem because we are not able to get rid of surpluses.
Okay.
And farmers are not getting remunerative prices.
Okay. So with good monsoon comes a lot of other issues.
Yeah.
But then how do you deal with that, sir? What is your...
So the issue is that rural distress today is not because of drought or not because of scarcity.
Okay.
It is because of very low commodity prices. Look at milk.
Yes.
There is a glut in milk. That is why the prices are low. Look at sugar. Now, how long will you keep on giving sugar packages?
Sure.
Look at, we had a bumper production of rice and wheat. We have a bumper production of pulses. 10 years ago, this country used to produce 13 million tons of pulses. And you know what happened 2-3 years ago, and suddenly the pulse production has gone to 24 million tons last year, and we are surplus.
Absolutely.
So the prices have again fallen to half of what it was. So I think several things. The government is also trying to get ENAM and other places so that they reduce the intermediation costs. But I think the big support will come when we have a long-term policy of getting rid of our surpluses in export markets.
Okay, sir. So that's one thing that we need to look out for. Sir, but when we talk about good monsoon, we talk about more money in the hands of rural folks. We talk about increase in income. We talk about increase in consumption. So from that point of view, and looking at the businesses in the country and looking at your business specifically, how do you see
Yes, definitely monsoon is very good news for everybody in the country. But the rural consumption is rising at a steady pace. If you take AC Nielsen data for last quarter, rural consumption has grown by 13.5% year on year, and urban consumption has grown only 14%. Now the problem is in rural consumption is disparity, because 1/3 of the people account for half the increased consumption. So that I think there are several government schemes which are countering that. The second thing I wanted to tell you was also that everything is on a roll in past few quarters in rural India. Look at tractor sales. You can travel hundreds of kilometers in rural India, and I do that most of my time throughout the year. It is very difficult to find bullocks.
Okay.
So it is rare to find a farmer still plowing his field.
Okay.
In at least in the top 350-400 districts of this country. I have not traveled too deep into poorer states, so I cannot comment on that. Then look at two-wheeler sales.
Yes.
Half the two-wheeler sales happen in the rural areas, and we had a 14% growth last year in two-wheeler sales. And my sense is that rural consumption will even accelerate. It will grow faster. Government schemes are also pouring money in rural India. There is a 14% growth in Manrega spends in last 4 years. 2013-14, according to the Manrega website, was 38,000 crores.
Sure.
Last year it was 64,000
Yes.
crores.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that there are a lot of things which are happening, but all this still does not address and cover the gap of low commodity prices.
Okay.
So low output prices for the farmers.
Sure, sir. So, but looking at your business, you're into animal feeds, you're into animal nutrition, crop protection, you're also into dairy. How do you see these? You've mentioned quite a few positive indicators, especially there are loopholes as far as execution is concerned, as far as commodity prices is concerned. But looking at the business as a whole, how do you see this year going forward for these specific segments?
So monsoon is very good for Godrej Agrovet because the reason is that all our products require agrochemical and oil palm plantation particularly. If you have monsoon, these businesses do well because they're direct agriculture.
Yes.
Apart from that also, if you see animal feed dairy,
Yes.
this prospers when there is a lot of greenery
Absolutely.
and a lot of fodder, and the cattle produce a lot of milk, and that is why feed and fodder is required. How to get rid of milk will be a problem.
Okay, again, surplus issues.
Yeah,
Yes.
surplus issue which are there, but we are in the input industry also, so we will greatly benefit.
Okay.
Our problem today in dairy industry, because we are in dairy sector also,
Yes,
is
yes.
that we have surplus milk.
Again.
And we are converting them into butter and skim milk powder,
Yes, yes.
like everybody else, and unable to dispose it off at remunerative prices.
Okay. So is that why the Maharashtra cooperative dairies are cutting down the prices by about 10%?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
So I think there is a big glut. This is a shortage time for milk, and
Okay.
now in the summers we are going to have surplus milk. So I'm just worried about what is going to happen in winter when the flush season comes.
Okay, so but by when do you see these prices, the price decreases coming into the business? By when do you see these?
So prices are already coming down for milk.
Okay.
And several states have announced. Several states have also announced support for the farmers.
Yes.
And I think that is a very good step because the milk prices have been falling consistently, and I think some support was needed to dairy farmers, which several states have done. Wherever states have not done, they are mulling over that. So I think there is a lot of intervention required by the government at the farmer level. And if we support them, the consumer will benefit because of low milk prices.
Definitely. So we'll come to that question next because you're talking about a lot of surplus and how Godrej Agrovet is dealing with that. But you did speak about how the segments in your business will benefit from this better monsoon and from other positive indicators and government initiatives. Any projections that you have for the coming year as far as different segments is concerned? Because the quarter gone by, we did see some kind of softness as far as animal feed and crop protection is concerned.
So one of the things is that Q2 and Q3 are the main quarters for Godrej Agrovet because agriculture is seasonal. I cannot prevent it.
Yes.
So I think Q4 will always be one of the subdued quarters for us. So I think that is a wrong comparison.
Okay.
So I'm very sure that we will grow upwards of 15% both in top line and bottom line. It can only accelerate from here. So a lot of signs are good. A lot of our projects which we have been working on and investments have been made are coming into production in this quarter. So that will also add to increased sale. So for us as well as for the whole sector, this year is likely to be very good.
So what is the kind of capex that has gone behind it?
So this, if you put all the capex together, these projects will be close to about 300 crores.
Okay.
Apart from that, there are 200 crores worth of projects which are under implementation, mainly in animal feed division and a little bit in agrochemical division and plus dairy. So which are going to get commissioned sometime in the first quarter of next financial year.
So you are definitely on an expansion mode. Expansion, of course, you've planned execution mode. But any inorganic ways of growth that you're looking at?
So we are always on a lookout in most of our businesses for good assets. So I'm saying that lot of evaluations continue always, but you know that everything does not materialize the way we want it to be. So I'm saying that whenever something like this happens, you all will be the first to know.
Sure. So I know a lot of people have asked you this, but just a small comment on, you've said that you are interested in Ruchi Soya's palm production, the entire business. Any update on that?
So I'm saying that if you read the newspaper reports, that is the source of information we also have.
Okay.
That Adani and Patanjali are in the final round.
Okay.
We were one of the bidders, so we are all eliminated and we are not in the process anymore. So I'm saying that let us see how things go forward, but we are no longer in the process.
So any outlook for input prices? We know prices.
So my sense is that food inflation and agriculture commodity inflation will keep on coming down if the rains are good, because as I told you that we are going to see a lot of surpluses. But now the things which you should also remember is that because of 13, 14, 14, 15 droughts, whether it is state government, central government, farmers, NGO, CSR spends of all the companies, and Manrega spends, almost 36% of Manrega spends are on irrigation.
Yes, sir.
So there is a huge improvement in irrigation infrastructure
Absolutely.
in last 3-4 years at all levels. My sense is that around 8 to 10 million hectares of area has come into irrigation
Definitely.
in last 4-5 years particularly. So that is why I am very sure that food inflation will always be in check from now going forward. Milk is a big contributor
Yes.
to food inflation. Milk prices are already coming
Yes.
down. So it's good news for consumers, but a difficult time for the farmers.
So targets for margin expansion?
Yeah, so that has been there for every year. If you see, our EBITDA margins are growing every year, barring 1 or 2 bad years we have had in the middle. I'm saying that I'm expecting another percentage point improvement in the EBITDA margins.
So good rains, good impact, as well as good reaction on the stock as well. From the day's lowest levels, the stock has moved almost near the day's highs. We've seen levels of around 657.58. The stock, which was trading in the negative, has now turned into the positive as well on the back of the interaction. But in fact, Neha,